Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you pretty late tonight for this next Judas Priest album review. I hope you guys will enjoy this next Judas Priest album review for the follow-up to Turbo, Ram It Down, that I got a chance to listen to for the 11th studio album to see what I was going to think of this 10-track album overall. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for Judas Priest's Ram It Down, their 11th studio album, and let you know what I thought of this 10-track album overall. So let's dive into this album review. Now it starts with Ram It Down, which actually is a solid track. I actually enjoyed this one a little more than everything else. I mean, it's good, but it's not perfect in any way. I had a few critiques with this song, with how it sounded overall. Rob Halford's singing was pretty strong in it, for the most part, but execution-wise, I think this track leaned in the good section of performing alright, so 4.5 out of 5. Heavy Metal is a mediocre track. I mean, the vocals from Rob Halford sound good, but it just relies on the screech singing too much in this track, and it's fine and all. And if they want to go for that, that's fine. But I just don't know. It didn't really execute and pan out very well, this track, with how it's being sung and how it's being produced overall. So this one's going to be a 3.75 out of 5. Love Zone is kind of meh. It's not anything special, but it's not anything great. So I'd have to give this a 3 out of 5. This track just is kind of boring, honestly. It has some boring, cluttery moments, but everything else about the verses are solid, but it's kind of in the middle with me for this track. Rob Halford's singing is alright, but just the way it's sounding overall, it's kind of meh. It's not anything to write home about and be like, oh, this is a great Judas Priest song. It's kind of meh. It's not the best Judas Priest song. So 3 out of 5. Come and Get It is a above decent track. I think this track, when the chorus kicks in, it's kind of average, but it's not great. I think everything else did decently in its own way. So, with how Rob Halford was singing it was solid, but everything else was kind of above decent. So, with the guitar and drum work, it's fairly decent. So, 4.25 out of 5. Hard as Iron was the most disappointing track on this record. The sound effect in this track is terrible. It just doesn't really sound great with the track. And it just, I don't know, it's trying to make it sound like you're hitting a metal iron thing or whatever. And it didn't work. The sound effect in the track is terrible. I did not like that aspect about the track, and the rest of the track just became cluttery garbage. So 2.75 out of 5. This track sucks. Blood Red Skies is average at best. For 7 minutes and 50 seconds, I wasn't really that impressed with this lengthy track. I was hoping I'd be, but I had a feeling I wasn't gonna be blown away by this track. So 3.5 out of 5. Rob Halford's singing was alright, but it's just the way the lyrics and how the execution of the song performed didn't pan out too great, but it performed averagely. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5 for Blood Red Skies. I'm a Rocker is kind of annoying of a track. It's gonna get a 2.5 out of 5 for this song. This track sucks. It can go fuck itself. I was not a fan of I'm a Rocker. It just gets repetitious with the chorus, with how Rob Halford's singing it. I just wasn't a fan of this. This was kind of cringe, honestly. So yeah, 2.5 out of 5 for this one. Um, I just was hoping it wouldn't have sucked, but I was let down big time. Rob Halford's singing was kind of alright, but it just didn't work with how the sounding of the song was. So, yeah. Johnny B. Good, Chuck Berry cover is the worst fucking Chuck Berry cover I have ever listened to. I don't know what Judas Priest was thinking, but this is not for them. They tried, they failed. This is the worst fucking song on the record. For sure. So 2.25 out of 5. Fuck this abomination of a track. I mean, I think Chuck Berry would be disappointed in this cringe fest. I don't know for sure, but honestly, I didn't like this. I wasn't feeling for this track. I mean, Judas Priest knows they can put out good material, but what they did with this one was filler and cringe and garbage. So, not a great cover track. 2.25 out of 5. Love You to Death is disappointing. I just wasn't feeling for this. It's a 2.75 out of 5 for me on this one. I was just like, I was kind of getting bored with the rest of the record when you get to tracks 5 all the way to, except for Blood Red Skies, that was average, but pretty much majority of the songs kind of suck. So, yeah. Love You to Death, 2.75 out of 5. And finally, the closing track, Monsters of Rock, is underwhelming. It's a boring cringe fest of nothingness, and it just drags this track with how the sound of the song is sounding. So, 1.5 out of 5. Another one of the worst tracks on the record. It sucks, honestly. So, overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I found this to be the worst Judas Priest record. It's worse than Rock-A-Rolla. And that's not a good thing, honestly. I was hoping I'd find some good moments about Ram It Down, but I think I want to ram this fucking album into the fucking ground and the foundation because of how bad it sounds. That's how I feel, and I'm not going to really do it, but I think this album should get rammed down into the foundation and never see the light of day again. Because it's that horrible of a record. The sounding of the album and the mixing and production is way off for Judas Priest. I think Judas Priest could have done a lot better if the songs sounded good. Lyrically, production-wise, mixing-wise, and overall, just everything soundscape-wise. This was not a good effort. This was terrible. I think this is the worst record in the Judas Priest discography so far. But pretty much, it might pan out to be the worst Judas Priest record in their discography. But I don't know, I gotta listen to Jugulator and Demolition and some other albums. But I'll let you know what I think of those. But first score, I'm giving Judas Priest Ram It Down a 3.5 out of 10. Like I said, this album can get rammed down into the foundation where it should belong because it sucks. This album sucks and can go fuck itself. I love Judas Priest. I like their material, but this record is not a good effort. I don't know what they were thinking, but this is not good material. Everything else is fine, but execution-wise, yeah, this record sucked. So 3.5 out of 10 for Judas Priest Ram It Down. I'm sorry I gave you a disappointing review tonight. I wasn't feeling for this record. It was utter garbage and an abomination of material from Judas Priest. It was just abysmally bad. So, yeah. I'm going to end my ranting on this review with me saying, hopefully you enjoyed this Ram It Down Judas Priest album review tonight, and thank you guys for watching. Have a good night.